From the studios in San Diego, California, this is Frank Fired Up here on the Mixed Up Sports Network, coming to you live here on this Tuesday. It is the ninth day of May, 2017, and boy, after this last week, we have a lot to get to today, including the Yankees, who just continue to roll, sweeping the World Series champs out of a three-game weekend series in dramatic fashion in two of those 3 days. The Mets finally play a game outside of the division. NHL playoffs. You have the Rangers playing tonight. Uh, what was it? Edmonton beating Anaheim 7-1 a couple of nights ago, and then you're pretty much just waiting on the third consecutive collision course between the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers, because honestly, there really is no team in the NBA that can touch those two right now. But we'll begin today, of course, with the whole Matt Harvey issue. Now, I almost was able to get here yesterday, but fortunately, I wasn't able to. And the reason why I say fortunately is because now you have the new information that came out this morning about him being at a bar drinking until 4 o'clock in the morning on Cinco de Mayo, which led to it. And then you get what I didn't hear until I listened to Matt Harvey's apology, which we'll play that for you in a minute. That he was out playing golf Saturday morning. So you get drunk off your rear end until 4 o'clock in the morning on Friday night. You go out and play a round of golf Saturday morning, and then you don't show up to the ballpark on Saturday night complaining you have a migraine. We spoke a lot about with the NFL. We spoke a lot about optics and how things look to the public and how the public perceives it. The optics of this, good Lord, it doesn't get much worse. Before we continue on, here's the apology from Matt Harvey.
First off, as I just did with my teammates and all of the coaches, I apologized for my actions, and I do apologize for my actions. Obviously, I'm extremely embarrassed by my actions. I apologize to my teammates, to the Mets organization, to the Wilpons, all the way down to the Mets fans for doing what I did. And yes, I was out on Friday night, past curfew. I did play golf Saturday morning, and I put myself in a bad place to be ready for showing up for a ball game that is my responsibility. I take full blame for that, and I've apologized to my teammates. I've apologized to the coaches, and I'm doing everything in my power so that never happens again. And like I've said, I'm extremely embarrassed for my actions, and I'm working forward to getting things back on track and doing everything I can to help this team win and help this organization moving forward. And they all have my word on that one.
This has been a toxic relationship from the start, and we thank SNY for posting that on Facebook so we can nab the audio from it. This has been a toxic relationship from the time of the Tommy John surgery on. When he came to New York in the end of the 2012 season up from Vegas, he was not expected to be nearly what he was. When he came here, he was a firecracker. Striking out, you heard team guys say he struck out more people than Nolan Ryan in his first X amount of starts. You're going back to some of the greatest pitchers he's being compared to just in that first, month and a half that he played with the team. Then he has the incredible 2013 season, starts the All-Star game at Citi Field, And then at the end of the year has Tommy John surgery, misses all of 2014, comes back in 2015 and says, I want to be the guy. I want to be the man. And it was working perfectly. He had a fantastic, he's had a solid season, pitching well. And then all of a sudden, Miami hits in the middle of September and he says, oh, my agent said I have an innings limit. And wouldn't you know, it's coming up in my next two starts. That's typically something you tell them at the beginning of the season. And from there, it has snowballed into something worse. You have the Tommy John surgery, you have the Boris incident in Miami, which was a story for a week and a half. You have the bad season last year, the surgery last year. He has not pitched he has not pitched like 2013 Matt Harvey since the Tommy John surgery, which, I mean, honestly, you wouldn't expect him to. But I'm trying to think of the words here. Just you can't just go off and do something like this. He has lost all benefit of the doubt having done this. This is, hopefully, Harvey takes this as a wake up call. He is known as a nuisance in the locker room. He has been seen as a prima donna by the people. He's up for arbitration this year, and he's out going and doing this stuff. To the people that want Harvey traded, you have no idea what you're talking about. Matt Harvey holds zero value right now. Zero. You will get absolutely nothing in return for Matt Harvey. If you do get anything in return, it's not going to be good. And if Harvey turns it on, if something clicks with Harvey, you're going to look like an idiot. I understand the old adage of trade a guy a year early instead of a year too late, but Harvey has no value. If you're going to trade him a year early, the guy has to have value. Harvey doesn't have any. So to trade Matt Harvey to get him off of the Mets right now would be the dumbest thing they could do. You have to live with Harvey for the rest of the season is really what it comes down to. Unless he really if he turns it on at trade deadline time, you know what? Really, why would you trade him then? Because you know the kind of pitcher he can be. Let him help you. The Mets are not a bad team that are looking to rebuild and looking to get pieces and bring pieces in. That's not what the Mets are looking to do. What the Mets are looking to do is win and win now. That's the Mets' goal right now. Win and win now. We posted the lineup up on the Facebook page. If you look at the lineup tonight, look at all the people that are missing. Cespedes is missing, Cabrera's missing, Duda's out, Darno's gone, Granderson's not playing tonight because it's a lefty pitcher. Syndergaard won't return until after the All-Star break. You've heard nothing about Matz and Lugo if they're ever coming back, because honestly, you don't know. The bullpen has been a disaster. Familia's sort of somewhat stabilized it. The Mets have had injury problems. They've not been a good team this year. Compound that, pile that, this Harvey issue into that, and it's a dysfunctional mess right now. Matt Harvey has to take this, and you heard in his apology that he is embarrassed by this. There is no greater teacher than embarrassment. There is no greater teacher than embarrassment. If you get embarrassed doing something, you're not going to do it again. I know that from experience. So for Harvey to so if Harvey takes this as what you hope he's going to take it as, I have to change. I got to just put my head down and all I got to do is pitch. If my curfew is 11, I'll be in at 10. This whole situation absolutely reeks for the Mets. It absolutely reeks. It absolutely reeks for Harvey, who, if he doesn't turn it around, and when I say if he doesn't turn it around, I mean he has to really turn it around. He essentially has to go back to 2013 Matt Harvey. This is Harvey's last year in New York. That is the one outcome out of this entire situation, is that this is his last year in New York if he doesn't turn it around. He has to turn it around. Going through now with the Yankees, you get the big win Friday on the Gardner home run. You get the win on Saturday, 18 innings on Sunday. You looked like you didn't lose a step, beating the Cincinnati Reds 10-4 after essentially playing 2 games on Sunday. Traveling to Cincinnati, I understand Chicago and Cincinnati aren't a far distance apart, but still. Travel to Cincinnati, win 10-4 after playing 18 innings the night before. The Yankees right now, sitting a half a game in first place over Baltimore, are about as high can get right now. If you told me the Yankees would be fighting for first place at the end of April, beginning of May, I would have told you you're nuts. With this roster, there was no way. And it turns out, better believe it, there is a way. As I've been saying as I've been saying for a couple weeks now, this team is overachieving. This team is overachieving overachievement right now. I mean, Aaron Judge, just listen. Aaron Judge on May 9th, 13 home runs, 28 RBIs. That is incredible. Batting 317. So not only do you have a power hitter who's hitting for power, you're having a power hitter that's hitting in general. Playing every day, batting 317. 13 home runs, 28 RBIs, and you're just entering the second week of May. That is unbelievable. Gardner's got 6 home runs. Castro's has 6. Castro's got 21 RBIs on the year. Yankees are scoring a lot of runs. A lot of runs. They've been scoring a lot of runs lately. What'd they win on Saturday? 11-5, same as the Mets? Tonight, the Yankees will throw CC Sabathia, 2-1 with an ERA of 5.45. He will go up against Tim Aldman, 1-1 with a 4.22 ERA. For the Yankees tonight, as it is up on the Facebook page, it'll be Gardner, Sanchez, Castro, Ellsbury, Judge, Gregorius, Carter, Torres, and Sabathia. Remember, playing in the National League ballpark, no DH. For the Reds tonight, it'll be Billy Hamilton, Zach Cozart, Joey Votto, Adam Duvall, Eugenio Suarez, Scott Scheibler, Jose Peraza, Devin Mesorasko, and Timothy Aldman. So there's your lineup tonight for the Yankees against the Reds. For the Mets tonight, it'll be Zach Wheeler going up against Jeff Samardzija in just the Mets' second game of the year against a team that's not in the NL East. For the Giants tonight, it'll be Joe Panic, Brandon Belt, Hunter Pence, Buster Posey, Connor Gillespie, Christian Arroyo, Eduardo Nunez, Gorkis Hernandez, and Jeff Samardzija. Samardzija coming into the game 0-4 with a 5.03 ERA. So it's a righty. A righty tonight. So Granderson, they actually just changed the lineup because the lineup was Conforto, Rivera, Bruce, Walker. No, the lineup was if you look on the again if you look on the Facebook page, the Met lineup tonight was Conforto, Rivera, Bruce, Flores, Walker, Reyes, Rivera, Lagares in center, and then Zach Wheeler. Now it's showing Conforto, Rivera, Bruce, Walker, Granderson, Reyes, Rivera, Flores, Wheeler. So I guess the lineups did change. So it is Conforto, T.J. Rivera, Bruce, Walker, Granderson, Reyes, Rivera, Flores, Zach Wheeler. So I'm assuming that is the final lineup tonight. Again, Zach Wheeler going on the mound, 1-2 with a 4.78 ERA. Just to close this out, Matt Harvey should be going on Saturday when the Mets go to Milwaukee to take on the Brewers. So after tonight and tomorrow, the Mets have played San Francisco, who have just been a god-awful team this year. A lot of good players. They have all the same players. Baumgartner being gone has completely destroyed the morale of this team. And they've just not been a good team. I know it took a 2-out hit in the ninth inning for the Mets to win last night, but they have not been a good team this year. Harvey should be pitching on Saturday against Milwaukee. So after this series against San Francisco, they go on the road to Milwaukee and Arizona before coming home. To the NHL, tonight you have the Rangers playing the Ottawa Senators. This is a game to stave off elimination for the Rangers at Madison Square Garden, which they have not played well at the Garden recently. I thought this series for the Rangers, as I said when they were matched up with Ottawa, I did not think that this was going to be a difficult series for the Rangers. I thought this was going to be a series that they were actually going to be able to not skate through, but they'd have the chance of eliminating Ottawa tonight instead of the other way around. Now, Ottawa did put a big hit on them in overtime, 5-4 on Saturday. All of these games all of the games in Ottawa have been close. First game in Ottawa should have went to overtime. The second game in Ottawa did, and then Saturday did go to overtime. Tonight, however, might actually be a saving grace for the Rangers to be playing at Madison Square Garden tonight. They have the NHL scene all to themselves. They have the NHL all to themselves tonight. The Rangers have won both games in this series at the Garden by a combined score of 8-2. They've won 4-1 both times. So a place that the Rangers had not won in 8 straight games through February and March now is a safe haven to them. But again, of all of the sports where home field, home court, home ice matters, the NHL, it doesn't seem to matter. Now the Rangers are playing at home tonight. Again, as I said, they've won both home games this series 4-1. So do they win again and force a game 7, which would be on Thursday, or do they fall out tonight? That's what'll play out starting at 7:30 on the NBC Sports Network. Again, the Rangers have the NHL scene all to themselves tonight. After last night, though, we'll catch you up. Last night, the Capitals beat the Pens 5-2. They have brought that series all the way back now. They are going to a game 7 in a series where they were down 3-0. And they're going back to Washington tomorrow night. So for the Capitals, they have all the momentum in the world. The Pens are reeling. What kind of game will it be tomorrow? You have the Predators, who have only lost 2 games, all playoffs, both of them to St. Louis. Shut St. Louis down 3-1 on Sunday. Nashville makes it to its first ever Western Conference final. They are waiting on either Anaheim or Edmonton. Edmonton, who just beat the snot out of Anaheim on Sunday, 7-1. So do they ride that momentum, or does Randy Carlyle get Anaheim clicking again? And if he's going to have to do it quick. I mean, when you have Draisaitl scored 2 goals in the opening 7.5 minutes. It took Jonathan Bernier for Anaheim to finally level it out. But of 5 goals in the first period, you knew Gibson didn't have it. Gibson genuinely didn't have it that night. So you have Pittsburgh and Anaheim, both elimination games going tomorrow, both game 7s tomorrow. You have the Rangers trying to stave off elimination tonight to force a game 7 on Thursday. So the latest that this round will go is Thursday. NBA playoffs, again, you haven't really had much in this you really haven't had much in this postseason beyond a couple of outstanding performances by LeBron James. You now have assumed that Kyle Lowry is going to be going to the Western Conference, which is not good. And I'll tell you why. While the East has produced 4 of the last 5 champions, of the 3 of the last 4 champions, with Cleveland last year and Golden State in 15, and then Miami in 13 and 14. The East has been such a weak conference for so long in the NBA. While the West has the veteran teams that are built to win and win now, and the East constantly having the teams that are trying to rebuild, that are trying to get players through the draft. The East has been a very bad division, a very bad conference for a long time now in the NBA. The only thing holding the Eastern Conference up right now is LeBron James. How many other big players are in the East? You have Carmelo Anthony, who has been a mainstay in the league for the last dozen years now, who's really not good anymore. You have, honestly, Jimmy Butler, Carmelo Anthony, Paul George, and Kyle Lowry. And Paul George and Lowry are thinking about leaving to the West. Rumors are that Paul George is going to be going to the Lakers. And you're not sure yet where Lowry's going, but you assume you've heard rumors have been swirling that he's looking at teams in the West. Now Boston has done a fantastic job of building a team. They went on a rebuilding project and they have rebuilt to the point where they were the best team in the East this year. They're now tied in a 2-2 series against Washington, which honestly does not bode well for Washington, Boston, Houston, or San Antonio. Houston, San Antonio plays game 5 tonight. Both of those series are tied at 2. Meanwhile, you have Golden State and Cleveland, the only two teams that anyone expects to be in the NBA Finals. They've already wiped their hands of Toronto and Utah, respectively, and are now sitting and waiting. You ever wonder why the NBA ratings are so bad? Because you were able to predict the second after last year's finals ended. You knew it was going to be round 3 between these two teams next year. And with all the storylines that took place this year in the NBA, whether it be the Knicks just being absolutely just dysfunctional and mental and don't know what the heck they're doing, to players sitting, players really not seeming to care, teams throwing games to get higher draft picks. The NBA right now, you thought the NHL was dysfunctional during the lockout seasons. The NBA is 1,000 times worse. So you have Houston, San Antonio tonight, Game 5, series tied at 2. Boston and Washington tomorrow. That series tied at 2. You'll see a Game 5 tomorrow. It's it really is. It's the NBA. And what has this playoff done? This playoff has done absolutely nothing for ratings interest in the NBA, other than watching LeBron James go off for 2 nights. And he is honestly, LeBron James is really cementing his legacy as the greatest player to ever live. Because not only is he scoring at a high rate, he's also very, very efficient while doing it. It has there has been absolutely no draw to these NBA playoffs, and part of the reason is because you already know who's going to be playing in the final. You've known all year who's going to be playing in the final. Um, you also, this past weekend, you had the Kentucky Derby. The winner of the Kentucky Derby, looking at Lee, was a 33 to 1 odds, had 33 to 1 odds on him to win the thing. Beat Thunder Snow, Fast and Accurate, Untrapped, Always Dreaming finished 5th, which I believe, because I don't bet on racing. So looking at the line and looking at the odds, being a 9 to 2 favorite, I'm assuming is better. You had Irish War Cry was a 9 to 2. He finished 17th. And you had Always Dreaming, who was a 9 to 2 odds. It was also at 9 to 2. Um, Finished 5th. So I'm assuming that those two, judging by that, I'm assuming that those two were the odds-on favorites. But looking at Lee was the winner of, what was it, the 148th running of the Kentucky Derby this past weekend. So congratulations there. They will go on to the Preakness in a couple weeks, looking to get the second stone in the Triple Crown, and then go on to Belmont, hopefully to win the Triple Crown, or at least hoping that they can get at least as far as the Preakness. So tonight, just to go through the games tonight, you have the Rangers playing the Senators again, NBCSN at 4:30 at 7:30. Both the Mets and the Yankees start at 7 o'clock tonight. Yankees in Cincinnati against the Reds. Mets taking on the Giants. This past weekend on Saturday, you had the Philadelphia Union defeat the New York Red Bulls 3-0. On Sunday, the New York Red Bulls will be taking on the LA Galaxy. Also, this past weekend, you had New York City FC take on Atlanta United FC, a 3-1 win for NYCFC. They play FC Dallas on Saturday. Just really quick to look at, because I know the MLS season has to be coming to an end, because unlike the rest of the leagues in the world, the MLS runs in the summer. All the other leagues run through the winter. So to look at the table, so right now the top 6 teams in each conference play for a playoff. Oh, they're not far into the season at all. I thought they were a lot farther into the year than they were. So right now in the Eastern Conference, the top 6 would be Toronto FC with a record of 5 wins, 4 draws, 1 loss. Orlando City SC 6-0-3. New York City FC at 5-1-3. Columbus Crew at 5-1-4. The Red Bulls at 5-1-5, and the Chicago Fire, who are 3-3-3. For the Western Conference, FC Dallas leads the way at 5-3-0. Sporting Kansas City at 5-3-2. Portland Timbers at 5-2-3. The Houston Dynamo at 5-1-3. The San Jose Earthquakes at 4-3-3, and the Vancouver Whitecaps at 4-1-4. But right now, the major tournament going on is the UEFA Champions League. In the semifinal, Juventus was playing AS Monaco. Atletico and Real Madrid, I believe, was the second half of that. Yes, was the second half of that. Uh, Yesterday, whoops. Earlier today, Juventus beating Monaco 2-1. Juventus winning 4-1 on aggregate. The combined score between the two games. Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid play their second leg match tomorrow at 2:45 Pacific. Real Madrid leads 3-0 on aggregate. So in order for Atletico to get into the UEFA final, they have to win by at least 3-0, winning on penalties, or by winning 4-0 just outright, or 5-1, 6-2. They have to win by 4 before that is set, and I believe the final. Is set for the end of May. I believe it's something around the 23rd. I believe somewhere around there. It's usually right around the end of May. Usually the week before the international leagues close. So that will do it for us today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you tomorrow.